Today we are going to take a look at the Victrix Gambit, a wired controller designed for Xbox and PC, which also touts itself as the world's fastest Xbox controller. It comes equipped with back paddles, multi-stage trigger stops, and a slew of customization options, which really make the Gambit a cheaper alternative to the Elite Series 2 or the SCUF Instinct Pro. In this video, I aim to help you decide if the Victrix Gambit is worth checking out. Spoilers for later? It is. To do this, we will review the controller in 4 main categories, noting pros and cons in each, and in the end, hopefully help you make an informed decision on your purchase. Let's get into it. What's up YouTube? My name's Gavlaaar88, and in this video and every other video on the channel, we talk about Xbox and Xbox related things, just like the Victrix Gambit. So as I said in the intro, we will be reviewing this controller in 4 categories. Firstly, the price, including what you're getting with your purchase. Secondly, design, key features and durability, making sure to highlight any standout features the controller has. Thirdly, customization, touching on how you can make the Gambit suit you best. And lastly, how it is under use, how it actually feels to play with, and what I like and dislike most about using the Victrix Gambit. I always start these reviews by talking about the price, because let's be honest, it's a very important point to consider. So what's the damage? Well, the Victrix Gambit costs around £80 in the UK, $60 in the US, and €80 in the EU. So a relatively affordable price considering the features and what comes in the box. And on that point, included with your purchase, you get the controller itself, a second rubber faceplate, another back button configuration option, an extra set of thumbsticks, an additional square D-pad, octagonal thumbstick rings, a nice quality carry case, and a 3-meter braided USB-C cable, needed to connect to your console or PC of course. Taking a quick look at some of the accessories, and firstly the rubber faceplate. When fitted, it minimises the clicks and clacks you would usually hear from the sticks hitting against the controller, which is pretty nice. Next, the 2 back button options, which allow for either 2 or 4 button inputs. I usually stick to the 2, but 4 could be preferable to some. The octagonal stick rings are also a great inclusion. Now, I'm not much of a fighting game fan, but I am assured that octagonal shaped rings like this would make hitting a certain directional move or combo that much easier to hit. So as you can see, you get a good amount for your purchase. But what does the Victrix Gambit do well? What will it allow me to do that other controllers can't? Well, let's move over to the next area of our review, the design, key features, and durability. Starting with the general design of the controller, and being honest, this isn't the prettiest controller out there. The standard white faceplate has some odd textured design that I'm not a fan of. The view menu and share buttons are larger than other controllers, and also come with a textured grip. I get this makes it easier to use, but it doesn't look the best. Moving on to the back, and we have to talk about the switches used for the triggers and also the back buttons. While I will mention later on that they actually work pretty well, aesthetically they're a bit of a hang-up for me. They look like something seen on a cheap toy from the 90s, and make the Gambit feel less premium, in my opinion. But we aren't just here to talk about looks, so it's time to talk about some of the things that make the Victrix Gambit special. So let's talk about the features. Firstly, the triggers, which can be set to multiple degrees of travel. The hair trigger setting being a go-to for shooter fans, allowing for a faster fire rate. You operate the trigger stops by pulling the switch to the side, choosing the desired trigger placement, then releasing the switch. A pretty nifty design which should prevent accidentally changing the trigger setting. Another key feature is the back buttons, allowing for additional inputs on your controller. In fact, any face button can be bound to any of the back buttons, meaning you can jump, crouch, change weapon, all while never needing to take your thumbs off the sticks. When it comes to the binding of buttons, this is done in the Victrix Companion app, which we will talk about later in the video, but for now I'll quickly mention how it allows you to bind buttons, change dead zones, and also check how your controller is performing by carrying out a diagnostic check. Pretty cool. But back to the back buttons, and as I mentioned, you have the choice between the 4-button or 2-button back panels, swapped out just by flicking the black switch and changing the panels. The back buttons work well. They fit the hand pretty well, but I must mention that they feel a little flimsy, a little flappy, and could be damaged if dropped or stood on. The interchangeable faceplates, thumbsticks and D-pads are also another awesome feature, allowing for nice customization and different ways to tackle gaming. The faceplate is magnetised and pops off super easily. The same can be said for the D-pads as well as the thumbsticks. The Gambit also allows you the ability to control your headset volume and chat mix on the fly. simply by using the D-pad, which is appreciated. You can see the little marks on the classic cross D-pad indicating where to press right here, which is a nice touch. One of the main draws of the Gambit has to be the claim of world's fastest Xbox controller, and I must say it does feel pretty responsive. Now, I'm mainly a console gamer, so if you're into overclocking controllers, I don't know too much about that, but the Gambit touts a 250Hz polling rate with a 4 millisecond response time, which is double that of the standard Xbox controller. Quickly touching on durability, and having had the Gambit for around 3 months now, as of recording I'm yet to have any real problems with the actual controller. No sticking buttons, no stick drift, and no problems with bumpers or triggers. As mentioned earlier, I do have concerns about some of the attachments, more so with the back buttons and switches. But other than that, the Gambit does seem like a sturdy controller. With the key features and design covered, let's talk about how you can personalise the Victrix Gambit to suit you best, as we move on to our third area of discussion, the customization. But before we get there, a quick intermission to remind you to hit the like button if you are finding this video helpful, and of course to subscribe for more Xbox and Xbox controller thoughts and reviews. With that out of the way, back to customization. As mentioned earlier, the Gambit comes with a secondary purple rubber faceplate, which obviously changes up the look of the controller, but also gives a different feel which could be preferable to some, like it is for me. The interchangeable thumbsticks also give you the opportunity to change up the controller by choosing whichever stick layout fits your playstyle. Do you prefer concave or convex thumbsticks? Or like some, you may prefer to have a longer right stick for easier aiming. The Gambit gives you these options, much like the Elite Series 2 or the SCUF Instinct Pro. The octagonal sticks and square D-pad also allow you to further customize the controller in ways not possible in a standard controller. But like with many controllers I've covered on this channel, the real star when it comes to customization comes with the tweaking you can perform by using the Controller Companion app. The Victrix Controller Companion app is one of the best I've used, to be honest. It's easy and effective. Set stick and trigger dead zones, bind buttons to the back paddles, and perform diagnostic checks. Basically all the nerdy stuff you'd like to do to get the most out of your controller. So in many regards, the Victrix Gambit is a very customizable controller. I would like to see a few different faceplate options available in the future, but I'm sure this is something that has been worked on. But there's no point in having a controller with great features and nice customization if it doesn't feel good in hand. So this leads us onto our final review area. How is it under use? How is it to play with? Now first of all, I'd like to say that the Gambit actually took me a little bit of time to get used to. The form factor fit a little off to me, with the controller feeling a little larger than the SCUF Instinct Pro, more similar to the Elite Series 2. The bumpers and the triggers are also larger than the other controllers. But with that being said, in my opinion, they feel great. The hair trigger setting on the triggers is awesome, really giving snappy firing. The bumpers are really nice also, probably some of my favourite that I've actually used. When initially using the Gambit, I almost found the sticks too reactive and found myself overcompensating, missing the target. But through use and tweaking in the companion app, I found a sweet spot that felt right. Overall, the sticks feel smooth, fast, and with good travel. When using the rubber faceplate, however, you may feel a little drag when the sticks come in contact with the faceplate, but nothing that impacts gameplay in my opinion. The back paddles, when set for 2 buttons, I would say feel in a good position for most. They work well and I can't see many problems. The 4-button option, however, I feel is a little cumbersome. I often find myself confused which button I was actually touching, considering how close the paddles are to one another. I also find myself accidentally pulling the trigger when trying to use the top 2 back paddles. Something about the placement makes the controller shift forward, which results in unintended trigger pulls. Pretty annoying. This could just be me, however. But if anyone else has found this, please let me know. The face buttons are very similar to the standard Xbox controller face buttons, and have the same cushion feel. Not my favourite, but not a problem. As this is a wired controller, it's important to mention how the Gambit fares in a living room setup. For me, I had no problem, given the 3-meter cable length. However, if you have a larger living room, this might cause issues. It's also not ideal to have a cable laying across the floor in certain households, possibly because of pets or small children. Now, if you mainly play at a desk, however, this will be a moot point, but I felt it was important to mention. So with price, design, customization and usability considered, how do I feel overall about the Victrix Gambit? Well, quite simply, this is a great controller. It's responsive, feels pretty good in hand despite being a little larger than I'm used to. It has good features, the triggers and back buttons being a standout for anyone wanting to play competitively or get the most out of their controller. Speaking on getting the most out of your controller, the companion app helps achieve this and is one of the better ones I've used. The added accessories help make the controller your own and really aid in making the Gambit a great deal for around $80. For the price and everything I have just mentioned, I would really struggle recommending another controller over the Victrix Gambit. I do have slight concerns over the durability of some of the accessories, but I would definitely recommend picking one up. But what do you guys think? Remember to let me know what you think about the Victrix Gambit in the comments below, and also what you thought about the video. I always appreciate the comments. Oh, and if you'd like to see more videos just like this one, here's a link right here. Also remember to like and subscribe if you have enjoyed or found this video helpful. But anyway guys, that's the video. Thanks so much for watching, and until the next time, I'll catch us.